Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back with another recording of Hearthstone. We need to get some mage victories here. Let's hop in and get one. If this recording goes a little short, I would be alright with that. Last recording went a little long, went a little heavy on the conversation, went really heavy on the conversation, I guess. I've exhausted probably everything to talk about right now. It did occur to me that right about now, I would love for a new Doctor Who episode to come out. And this is being recorded probably like a week or two after the Doctor Who Christmas special. So, as I said, as the last season of Doctor Who came out, I did not like any of it, really. Pretty much none of it at all. Did not like any of the season. But I really did like the Christmas special. And the Christmas special seems to have saved my interest for Doctor Who and re-inspired it. So it would be great. It would have been totally great if right now a new one came out. And they were starting over and there was actually some good Doctor Who coming out right now, but it's not the case. They gave us this really good Christmas special, and now it's going to be 9 months, probably, until the next one comes out. It's really weird. Is there anything else I would like to come on TV? No. This week's Family Guy was weird. Family Guy in general, let's just talk about Family Guy a little bit. It seems like Seth MacFarlane is
knowledge is power, and I
on
know
a lot of occasions, like negotiating with Fox, trying to get them to cancel Family Guy, or like maybe if they cancel Family Guy, he'll get more money or something. I don't know how that would really work, but it seems like there's something that goes on there, because he will do just some like ridiculous things that are gonna alienate the fan base. One of them was like their 100th episode, they did no cutaways, and it was this big dramatic thing. For like 3 episodes, they killed off Brian and made it like in replacement with a dog. There are some other things where they tell like stories and such, but those I wouldn't really put into the same level. But they just do some weird stuff. And this episode felt really weird. Quagmire was going through some old stuff. Turned out he was an actor in Korea, and all of Quagmire's friends, all the guys, get into this Korean series and want to see the final episode. The final episode never aired outside of Korea, so they go to Korea. And when he gets to Korea, he meets up with the actress that he was dating while he was recording it, and they were like deeply in love, and eventually he decides that he wants to stay in Korea with her, and it almost seems like that's where it was gonna end.
Job's done.
But eventually he changes his mind and comes back. So, I mean, it's a pretty basic Family Guy episode. I'm sure if you went through all the episodes, there's some other one where Peter went somewhere, decided to live there, and his friends had to convince him to come back to Quahog. It's probably total rip-off. The only thing that's weird about it is most of the episode was just making fun of Koreans. I mean, and I don't know why. It's just like we're gonna make fun of Koreans and stereotype them. And these are South Koreans, of course. they were talking about, but they did mention North Korea a couple times. Doing a lot of making fun of K-pop, which I guess maybe that was potentially their interest in it, was they just wanted to have them do a K-pop episode, which there's better ways you could have done it. If you wanted to get Peter into K-pop and do several bits there, that would have been probably better. So it's just weird. It feels like another one of those episodes where they're just gonna do something weird in Family Guy. Now, I will say, believe me, Family Guy, much like Doctor Who, is just a series that, in its combination of many, many episodes, feels like it's a good show. But when you start cutting it bit by bit, when you start doing the autopsy of the series, you're like, well, episode 1, animation is horrible and the story is dumb, and then episodes 2, the animation is horrible and the story is dumb, and you just keep going that way until you realize, oh, for the past 6 seasons there's only like 5 worthwhile episodes that you would really want to go back and see a second or third time. And as long as you don't really realize that you like Family Guy, but very few people are going to sit there and buy the DVDs and go back and watch it. Same is true for Simpsons, although The Simpsons has been going so long now that they could straight up legitimately remake entire episodes and just update it to a modern animation style and sensibility, and it would be acceptable in my book. So I mentioned the word autopsy there because this is a weird one. I'm gonna tell you, this one I fully admit is weird, but I through my roaming of the internet, I found these videos on YouTube. There's about 4 of them that came out of a TV series that came out for BBC4, it seems like a few years ago, maybe 6-7 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, where a doctor actually autopsies a body on live TV, and boy, does it fascinate me. It is just a real fascinating thing. First one I watched, I had this whole pile of cookies, and this is probably some evidence that I'm not right in the head. I'm eating these sugar cookies while this autopsy is going on, and I'm just like, oh, this makes me so hungry, and I don't even know why. And I thought in my head before I started eating, I was like, wouldn't it be really ironic if this just makes me hungry? And it did. I'm like, oh, I'm just living the stereotype of a lunatic. Yeah. So his name is Gunther von Hodgens. He is the inventor of plastication. I don't know. He has a institute of plastications, and what you probably could find too is that for example, the bodies exhibit that was at the Smithsonian and may still be at the Smithsonian right now is probably his work. He invented it. It seems to be the only person that does it. And what it is he puts plastics and polymers inside the body to make it rigid and stiff, so he can chop it up into slices, and so you can see different angles that you wouldn't be able to of parts of the body, or the whole parts of the body. Or sometimes he'll show off the lungs and he'll leave the skin on one lung, and so you see it from the outside, and then on the other lung you'll see it from the inside.
I wonder.
Turns out in an autopsy it is impressively easy to figure out if somebody is smoked. Probably a little bit more difficult to figure out how long they've smoked, but your lungs do go like pitch black immediately as you start smoking. It's just awful looking. So yeah, I've gotten into this, and the video is the things are very interesting. One of them, it was called, if you typed in like Dr. Gunther Anatomy for Beginners, that's one of them, and then it seems like it was also called Dr. Gunther's ER for a couple of episodes, so I don't know if they changed the name a couple times trying to rephrase it. One of them was kind of more focused on like how fast a body could run out of blood if depending on where it was cut and bleeding, and some of it was on circulation, and oddly it seems like they did the 4th episode on sexuality and then it got cancelled, so you'd think the thing that would have gotten it the most views seemed to got it cancelled. And because this is British TV, which doesn't have a real problem with nudity, they have human models show up in all the episodes, and so the human models are standing there nude, and they will either project or draw onto them their bodies what they're trying to portray. So if they're showing the heart, you'll have a male or a female. It seemed like there was 3 models that I saw standing there fully nude. So even though they're showing just like the heart, they're fully nude, they're standing perfectly still. A forensic pathological artist, not forensic, but a body artist is drawing a heart on the outside of them, and they're using them as a model. And it seems a little weird too, because you could have just had a dummy stand there and draw on the dummy. It would have been way easier, but they chose to go that way, so whatever. And they are not afraid to show the male's genitalia. They're not afraid to show the female's genitalia. Although in the sexuality thing, when they started to really focus on the lower genitalia of the female, they actually did apply the slightest of blurs. The slightest of blurs. A circular blur that probably only covered about half of it.
Must cleanse the sunwell.
So you could barely even recognize it, but the guy is sitting there fully naked, and you see more of him than you probably would want to. They make a joke when they're doing the digestive one that they won't use the human model as to show the rectum, because they were showing the full digestive process during the autopsy. And then there's actual autopsies going on actual bodies that were donated, and they cover the face for privacy, but everything else is fully shown. So it's rather fascinating. It's not super in-depth medical things, and it's not like, it doesn't feel like I could probably go into a morgue tomorrow and be a mortician, but you know, if it was a end of the world zombie apocalypse type thing and I needed to know how somebody died, I think I'd probably have a couple of hints there. I could probably tell somebody if they had a heart attack. I could probably tell somebody if they had water in their lungs. I could probably tell if somebody had cirrhosis of the liver. I could probably tell somebody's appendix or pancreas or something else burst. If it was a stab wound, it would be pretty obvious to anybody if that killed them. Unless
you have been.
So there's definitely a lot that more I would miss. And I'm definitely not qualified to be a mortician, but I could see in some weird alternate universe I might become one, and did not bother me one bit. But I'm kind of special anyways because I grew up with a nurse in the family. In fact, most of my family, the females in my family are nurses. So let's play a shaman. They never really shied away from that, and they really don't. They start looking at human bodies as a hunk of meat, and less as a something to be in awe or afraid of, and you can pick up on that. So yeah, really fascinating. If I could find more videos on YouTube of this, it'd be great. YouTube apparently has no problem with the nudity in it, because it's for educational purposes and it's not emphasized on sexuality, although you might argue that the reason why they have live models on there is to catch some people's attention, but whatever. It's not really there. It's almost more like if you were a 14-year-old who grew up really, really sheltered. I could see how watching something like that might be the first uncensored, unblurred, unphotoshopped, or enhanced image of a nude body of either gender that you've ever seen. And so, by being one of the very few places that is willing to show that, you are adding some very basic scientific knowledge. And particularly in the United States, my experience, and I think most people's experiences, you just don't see what other people's bodies look like. You really don't. So you do get skewed into this strange perspective where the only time you see somebody naked is when they've been photoshopped, and it's unrealistic. It's always this perfect ideal thing, and a lot of people, there's a lot of variety, and it often leads to people having body image issues that could be avoided with just a little bit more free nudity running around. It's a weird situation. I know it's a weird thing to say, but there should be more naked people in the world, just so people know the wide variety and that not everybody looks like what is shown in a Playboy or a Penthouse. And remember, that is totally fake stuff. That's been photoshopped like crazy. And there is even room in societies where there are people who go shockingly long amounts of time with being totally ignorant as far as anatomy. And most people, when you get away from just genitalia, but anatomy in general, there's a lot of information there, and most people don't know any of it. It's practically nothing. Let's see. Let's see, if I do this and this, I'll kill it.
You face death.
But yeah, fascinating. I'm kind of glad there weren't more videos on YouTube though, because they were 40 minutes long, and in like 2 days I spent 3 or 4 hours straight just watching these, and I'm like, ugh. But I'm also kind of sad. I would love to go through a full list there. I wish it was more detailed. I wish it was, if it could get on to being like a mystery show. It's like, can you spot what killed this person? What was the cause of death? Uh, that was certainly something that was going to be part of what fascinated me about it, was like, can I, as a layman, figure out what the cause of death is, and less about, well, this is how we're going to show you the circulation system, this is we're going to show you the bone structures, we're going to show you all this.
Truth is my
Like,
shield.
there's only maybe 12 systems in the body that you could really cover before you've covered them all. I'm guessing 12. Maybe way too many, way too less. I mean, there's the circulation, respiration, endocrine, digestive, nervous system. That's 5 off the top of my head. I bet there are 7 smaller things too that you could call system. It's probably a pretty general term anyways. In the turn. So, as far as educational, I don't think you could do too many. I think part of the problem why that show couldn't continue, though, is I don't think they have enough bodies. The real issue is that almost everywhere in the world, very, very few people are willing to donate their bodies to science. And there are a lot of students who want to be doctors, who want to be morticians, who want to be nurses, who want to be surgeons. There are a lot of students that need actual human bodies and not fake plastic bodies to work on. And there's just not enough out there. People don't want to donate their bodies to science. They have religious reasons, they have personal reasons, they have just never even thought about it. And so you can be an organ donor pretty easily in America by checking an organ donor on your card, and that is enough. But if you really want to donate your body to science, you kind of have to know you're dying, you have to prearrange it with a hospital. A lot of the hospitals are so far away from where you might be that they won't take your body anyways, which kind of sucks. So ideally the easiest thing to do is have a note in your purse or wallet saying I want my body donated to science. That means they'll usually take care of they'll take care of your body. You won't have to, your family won't have to buy a casket, they won't have to, they'll have a funeral with just like a picture of you, or just a empty casket if you wanted to do that. But it really makes a funeral potentially a lot cheaper, and you don't even have to have a funeral if you don't want it. I think if you want to be really kind to your families, just don't have a funeral. Go have a memorial in somebody's house. Don't pay a preacher a couple $100 which is probably what they would charge you. Although, wait a minute. I think a lot of preachers have a policy too. I used to know this, that they wouldn't charge for funerals, but they would charge for weddings instead. So you may not actually pay anything for a funeral. It's been a while since I've known that bit of info. This. This. And let's see.
Elements I like. Totems I love.
Kill this. Kill this. Attack here. So yes, donate your body to science. Donate your organs first. I will fully say that if it comes down to education through donating your body to science and saving a life by donating your organs, donating your organs is probably the most immediate
well played.
and helpful thing. Although, if you really think about it, if you educate a surgeon's going to save thousands and thousands of lives. So it very easily might be better to educate somebody to do something to save more lives than the potential 12 people that you might save, again a guess, from your organs. If both your kidneys save somebody, if your skin helps somebody who was burned, if your heart saved one person, if your lungs went to 2 people, you're talking, let's see, that's 5, 6, 7 people. If you parts of your stomach went to somebody who had stomach cancer, if you're we can't do things like chop off legs and arms or hands, but we can use veins from legs, arms, and hands to potentially people who have had strokes or heart attacks or clotted arteries would be that. Can't use your brains. Your corneas, your eyes could be used to improve people who have been blinded. Can't do anything with your teeth, can't really do anything with your nose. There is a face transplant surgery, but that's not happening with such frequency that your face would probably be used in an organ donation. Eardrums, can't do anything with those, as far as I know. Fingers, toes, fingernail, hair. I wonder if they do use your hair for wigs. That would be interesting. I bet they don't. I bet they don't shave people who have donated their organs and make their hair and make wigs out of it, which is kind of a shame. Typically when you donate organs, they try to do everything above the chest. They try to leave all that.
One day, I'll be a real knight.
In case you want an open casket. Speaking of funerals, if you are going to prepare a funeral, you don't need to be preserved. You don't need formaldehyde in your veins. You don't need an expensive casket. You don't need any kind of insurance or other garbage they're trying to sell you. It's all a huge ripoff in general. Just don't do any of it, really. Just don't have a funeral.
We're using real swords.
There is like, from what I've heard, there's a $500 cardboard box you can get and be buried in. You can be cremated, I think, for about $300. And I learned on You Don't Know Jack that the remains from a cremator is called the cremains. So you could take that in an urn for about $300 if you just, or take it in a bag for free. This, and then this one, I guess.
We're using real swords.
Job done. Only need one more victory here, as we talk about a somewhat morbid sentiment.
Run away!
Do I have anything else to talk about or do? Let's see.
One day, I'll be a real knight.
And then this. Hopefully I'll get this victory and we'll be done. It's been a long, kind of long day. We're getting more and more Hearthstone recordings going. That's good. I want to get Hearthstone ahead. I kind of wish on You Don't Know Jack that I could just jump the gun and move forward to the remake of it. Get behind me. It's just not what I would want to do.
We're using
Real sorts.
It would be wasteful. It would be super wasteful if the reboot. Questions would be newer, and they would make a lot of sense to do stuff like that and not be playing games that are asking me questions about the Brady Bunch and Three's Company game shows that have not been on TV for a very long time. Let's see.
You face death.
Job's done.
End the turn there. So yeah, that would be nice. It'd be nice if the graphics would run in 1080p. I decided not to label those recordings as 1080p when I released them and scheduled them for release. They haven't been released yet, but I felt that even if I'm recording it in 1080p, the fact is it's 640 with black bars on the side. And so it's not honest enough for me. I don't feel like that would be fully honest to say, yeah, it's 1080p because I recorded it. Now that isn't going to stop it from playing at 1080p on YouTube. So it will be 1080p 60 frames per second as far as your settings there. It's just you will be watching a scan of a very lower resolution game at a higher resolution with it scaled up. But I don't want to sit there and claim that. And I don't know, in all honesty, whether claiming that on any of my videos has ever helped at all.
Did you bring some fish?
Let's see.
Totally.
Fine, I'll heal.
Do I just want to kill this? I guess I do. Get that out of the way. Go 3 to 4 damage to all enemy minions. That would be nice. Is there anything new I'm really doing with my channels? It's not really. Just trying to get further and further ahead. I think by the end, my prediction for 2016, by the end of it, is I will have gotten rid of my calendar in my spreadsheet app, because I just don't think the visual showing of a calendar is useful. I think the time slot thing I did instead is way more of what you really need.
Fine, I'll want.
I enjoy raiding.
I never really got it to fully look the way I wanted it to. I didn't finish the project basically, but filling in time slots. I also feel I've kind of screwed up one of the series.
Will be
So like right now the current series that's getting released as a playlist, the current series is series 5 and 6, and then series 7 is a separate one. I guess that'll be fine. There's probably some more work to be done on all of that anyways. Well, let's go ahead and take the victory.
Fine, I'll want.
series, I don't think are gonna change much. It's just gonna be this whole situation of they're gonna be about a month long. So in theory, if we're starting on Series 6 in 2016, we should be at Series 18 by the end of the year. And that might be the case, that might not be the case. Let's do this. And this. If I was to guess, 2016 is probably going to be the end of series numbers too. I think by the time we are at the end of series, whatever series we are at in 2016, we will be also going to a different way of saying it. Series 1 of 2016 or Series 2 of 2016, 2017, Series 1, 2017, Series 2. Because if we really are up to Series 18, that's probably too many numbers, too high of numbers. It might as well be 0. Anyways, we are at 5,330, which is never too high of a number as far as gold. We've got our quest done. It's been a somewhat long day. I'm not going to buy extra packs though. I think what we should do is give that some thought. Next time we'll do the Tavern Brawl. But yeah, if I got up to 10,000, I don't know if I should buy 50 normal packs. We still have some normal cards, but I think I'm pretty much gonna create the normal cards just from dust going forward. Anywho, as always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment if you want to, and watch every second of my videos. All that helps me out. If you want to support me, you can click on my name, Rydo. On the right will be a blue button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.